Many years ago, the world was relatively stable at 280 parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That means carbon dioxide consisted of about 0.02% of the Earth's atmosphere. Sadly, we have ramped up levels quite rapidly since then.
Today we are at 400 parts per million and we are going up by more than 2 a year. So 450 is by now about 20 years away.
That means we're up to about 0.04% of CO2 in the air. But that doesn't mean we can't get it to reasonable levels.
My brother said to me last time I saw him that 25 years ago I was, so annoying to talk about the greenhouse effect. Now everybody else is doing the same thing. And now I've got my mind blown again. It's like, how many game changers can they deal with? There's one every month or so. Maybe, I don't know, this one's like almost a yearly thing. I'm renewing all my thoughts. It's artificial trees or basically carbon absorbing panels. I mean, they don't have to be in the sun or anything. They can be under roofs. But yeah.
You end up needing more agricultural land than we have right now in use in order to make this happen. We collect CO2 roughly 1,000 times as fast as a real tree.
Yeah, that 1,000 times number blew my mind a bit. It's like I've been thinking about trees as the answer for so long. I mean, the Forest House was kind of about that. I bought that house 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. And I built the house. And then the whole thing with the trees are quite close to the house. I was in the notion that people shouldn't live in clear cuts. But then I moved to this clear cut. And that's just history. People do live in clear cuts. And anyway, this guy, his name is Klaus Leitner. He's got a lot of stuff going on. I just watched a talk with his that's about an hour long. And it had a lot of information in it.
1 gigaton of carbon is worth half a ppm. If I say half of it gets away, I need 4 gigatons of carbon to add 1 ppm to the atmosphere. We are currently putting out 8 gigatons a year, and so you can now figure out how much time do we have before we hit the 450 mark. Basically, if you build some CO2 scrubber, this is just sort of an artist concept how it might look. The thing which is interesting is it's orders of magnitude smaller for the same carbon reduction than a windmill. So after looking at some costs, I said, well, if I'm really dumb about it, this is right when I started, I'm going to say this has a capital cost and it has a certain per square meter of frontal area. That, let's say, has the same. Let me calculate the price of a ton of CO2. If the price of electricity is 5 cents a kilowatt hour, and then I need one more assumption. I say the collection efficiencies of those two are maybe the same, 30-some% or whatever you pick. And if you make that assumption, you find that the price of 5 cents per kilowatt hour is equivalent to 50 cents per ton of CO2. So I said I could be orders of magnitude off with this calculation, and maybe it's 10 times more expensive. But what it suggests is that contacting the air passively, just to extract the CO2, is not where your cost is likely to be. And we actually found that out in the future as we now, going back from 1999 when I started to think about it to today, if you actually add up all the cost of the material we have to hold in the wind, it's not that high. It may not be 50 cents, but it's not much more than $5 a ton.
Understand that? No, I didn't either. It's like the guy's a professor and he's not interested or not uh, trying to make himself understood by laymen like me. Because really, how much are the things? He circles that a lot. It's unclear what the price is. I don't think it's been all productized yet, but maybe $5. At one point, it circles that number, and then $50, and $250. It circles those numbers too. Don't know. I mean, there's another video I found in the loss where the woman says that those panels are, artificial trees are collect 1 ton a day. So, and what does it say? 8 gigatons of carbon every year. A gigaton is 1,000 million or something. How much is a gigaton? Kilowatt is 1,000. Megawatt is 1,000. Gigawatt is 1,000. What does that mean, real? I don't know. It's a lot. So you need 8 billion, 8 lots every year. And where would you put them? Well, they don't fit in the sun. They could be on people's roofs and stuff. But the bigger problem is how to store the energy. Like once you have the carbon, what to do with it. Having greenhouses like carbon because plants grow better when they're full of carbon. But putting it underground in empty aquifers and stuff the other way, it's probably gonna happen.
I now have absorbed the CO2 on some material X. Could be calcium hydroxide, it could be sodium hydroxide. I'll show you something better in a second.